For years, millions of people trusted their money to a man who slept on a beanbag, not a bank. Not a century-old financial institution. A 30-year-old guy who played League of Legends during meetings with billionaire investors, wore oversized shorts, drove a Toyota Corolla, and claimed he wanted to give away almost his entire fortune to save the world. And the craziest part of this story is that it worked. Wall Street trusted him. Celebrities trusted him. Politicians trusted him. Some of the most powerful investment funds on the planet handed him billions of dollars. Even people who understood absolutely nothing about crypto trusted him. Why? Because Sam Bankman-Fried had achieved something almost impossible. He convinced the world that he was incapable of lying. Then in less than a week, everything collapsed. The fortune disappeared. The company went bankrupt. Customers discovered that their money might no longer be there. And the man some people called the future of finance was arrested in the Bahamas, handcuffed, accused of orchestrating one of the biggest financial frauds in modern history. But here's what makes this story truly disturbing. How did someone so visible, so heavily scrutinized, so surrounded by the biggest investors in the world, manage to fool so many people for so long? And more importantly, why did nobody see the disaster coming? To understand that, you can't start with the collapse. You have to start with the dream. Between 2020 and 2021, crypto became a global obsession. Everywhere, people were talking about fortunes made through Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, or random tokens nobody had even heard of a few weeks earlier. Influencers explained how to become a millionaire. Celebrities promoted crypto projects. Friends who had never spoken about investing suddenly started recommending platforms and digital currencies. The promise was simple. Get in early, and you could become rich before everyone else. In the middle of that collective madness, FTX appeared as the perfect platform. Simple, fast, modern, trustworthy. And behind FTX stood Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam understood something essential. In a market filled with shady promises, the person who inspires trust wins. So he built an image that felt almost impossible to attack. He wasn't just another crypto entrepreneur. He was an effective altruist, a man who wanted to make as much money as possible, only so he could give it away to help humanity. He didn't talk about luxury. He talked about doing good. That image became his most powerful weapon. Because when a billionaire says he doesn't really care about being rich, people lower their guard. Very quickly, FTX was everywhere. The company bought the naming rights to the Miami Heat arena. It signed partnerships with Major League Baseball, Formula One teams, sports stars, influencers, and celebrities. Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen, Kevin O'Leary, Larry David. The FTX logo appeared in commercials, stadiums, YouTube videos, and social media feeds. The message was clear. FTX was legitimate, but behind that clean image, a disturbing question slowly started to emerge. Who exactly was Sam Bankman-Fried? Before FTX, Sam worked at Jane Street, one of the most prestigious trading firms in the world. That's where he learned about markets, risk, and high-speed finance. Then he quit, searching for something bigger. In 2017, he discovered crypto. At the time, the market was still chaotic and inefficient. Bitcoin could trade at dramatically different prices depending on the country. Sam realized he could buy Bitcoin cheaply in the United States and sell it at a much higher price in Japan. On paper, it was almost free money, so he created Alameda Research, a crypto trading firm. Even the name sounded respectable and academic, but that choice wasn't accidental. Alameda Research sounded far more trustworthy than a company openly advertising itself as a crypto arbitrage operation. At first, Alameda made a lot of money, but very quickly, things became murky. Employees started becoming concerned about Sam's behavior. They accused him of taking reckless risks, ignoring rules, and managing the company chaotically. One internal incident would later become known as the April fiasco. Some employees reportedly even tried to force him out of the company. Sam refused. And this is where the first real warning sign appears. Long before FTX, long before the collapse. Some people close to Sam already believed he was dangerous. But almost nobody listened. Then, in 2019, Sam launched FTX. At first glance, it looked brilliant. Crypto exchanges make money on every trade. Whether customers win or lose, the platform collects fees. In a booming market, it's an incredibly powerful business model. But there was a problem. Sam now controlled two things at the same time. FTX, the platform where customers deposited their money, and Alameda Research, a trading firm capable of placing massive bets using that same platform. The conflict of interest was enormous, but at the time, almost nobody cared. Crypto prices kept rising, FTX kept growing, investors kept pouring in, and Sam became more famous every month. Then FTX created its own token, FTT. This became one of the most important pieces of the entire puzzle. FTT was tied directly to the FTX ecosystem. As FTX grew, the value of the token increased. On paper, that gave both FTX and Alameda billions of dollars in assets. But there was one major flaw. If too much FTT was sold at the same time, the price could collapse instantly. In other words, a massive portion of the empire's wealth depended on something extremely fragile. Very fragile, but as long as nobody panicked, the system survived. Then came 2022. The crypto market started collapsing. Terra Luna imploded. Celsius fell apart. Voyager filed for bankruptcy. Three Arrows capital disappeared. One domino after another came crashing down. And while the rest of the industry was burning, Sam Bankman-Fried positioned himself as the savior. FTX offered rescue deals to struggling crypto companies. The media started comparing Sam to J.P. Morgan, the banker who helped stabilize the financial system during past crises. His reputation became even stronger. He was no longer just a crypto billionaire. He was the man protecting the industry from total destruction. But that was exactly when the truth started surfacing. On November 2nd, 2022, CoinDesk published an explosive article. The outlet had obtained information about Alameda Research's balance sheet, and it revealed something deeply troubling. A huge portion of Alameda's assets depended on FTT, the same token created by FTX. That meant the two companies were far more connected than the public had been led to believe. It also meant that if FTT collapsed, Alameda could collapse too. And if Alameda collapsed, FTX might collapse with it. Then someone decided to press the red button. Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, the largest crypto exchange in the world. And while Sam was still trying to maintain the image of a perfectly stable empire, CZ had already been watching the cracks for months. A few days after the CoinDesk article, Binance announced it planned to sell all of its FTT holdings. At first glance, it sounded like a normal risk management decision. But in crypto, confidence is everything, and CZ understood that perfectly. He didn't need to destroy FTX directly. He only needed to make the market lose trust in it. The message was instantly understood. Binance no longer believed in FTX. And if Binance didn't trust FTX anymore, why should customers trust it either? Panic spread immediately. Users rushed to withdraw their money. Billions of dollars flowed out of FTX within hours. It became the crypto version of a bank run. Everyone wanted to escape before everyone else. Even people who weren't worried at first became terrified, simply because they saw everyone else panicking. Sam tried to calm the public. He claimed FTX was fine, that customer assets were safe, that everything was under control. But behind the scenes, nothing was under control. And at that exact moment, billions of dollars belonging to ordinary customers may have already been gone. FTX then asked Binance for help. For a few hours, the world believed CZ would buy the company and save its customers. But after reviewing FTX's internal situation, Binance walked away almost immediately. The problems were too severe at that moment. Everyone realized this wasn't just a liquidity issue. It might be something far worse. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. A company once valued at $32 billion collapsed in a matter of days. Then the revelations began. Customer funds had allegedly been transferred to Alameda Research. Billions may have been used for risky investments, internal loans, luxury real estate, political donations, and maintaining the FTX empire itself. The new CEO overseeing the bankruptcy, John Ray, who had previously handled Enron's collapse, described a complete absence of internal controls, no reliable accounting, major decisions made by a tiny group of inexperienced executives, messages set to auto-delete, a sprawling and opaque corporate structure. The image of the rational genius completely shattered. In its place emerged a chaotic, fragile system, run by a small group of young executives living together in the Bahamas, while controlling billions of dollars belonging to ordinary people. And that's when the story became human. Behind the headlines and billion-dollar figures were real victims, people who had placed their savings on FTX, investors who believed they were using a safe platform, families who lost years of work and sacrifice. For them, this wasn't just another crypto crash, it was their lives disappearing. Meanwhile, Sam kept talking. Instead of disappearing, he gave interviews. He insisted he never intended to commit fraud. He claimed he made mistakes, that he didn't fully understand what was happening, that he should have supervised Alameda more carefully. But American authorities didn't see simple mistakes. They saw massive fraud. Sam was arrested in the Bahamas, extradited to the United States, and charged with multiple financial crimes. Caroline Ellison, the former CEO of Alameda, and Gary Wang, co-founder of FTX, pleaded guilty and cooperated with investigators. The man once portrayed as a moral genius became the symbol of a collective illusion. But perhaps the most disturbing part of this entire story isn't Sam Bankman-Fried's downfall. It's what the story reveals about the system itself. Because FTX didn't grow alone. It grew because investors failed to ask enough questions, because celebrities lent their image to the platform, because influencers promoted it, because the media loved the story of the altruistic billionaire, because an entire industry wanted to believe wealth could appear almost magically. And that's why this story doesn't really end with FTX, because one question still remains. If an empire this famous, this visible, and this heavily backed by the biggest names in finance could hide so many cracks, how many other companies are still operating the exact same way? FTX may have been the most spectacular scandal, but it may not be the last, because in every financial bubble, the setting changes, the characters change, the promises change, but the mechanism always stays the same. A man appears with a vision. The world wants to believe him. Money floods in. Questions disappear. And then one day, somebody finally asks, where did the money actually go?